When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow.
Celia.
Yes.
The Addy books are making me very weepy.
It's Weep City over here.
It's like even when I think I texted you, like even when things aren't explicitly sad in them, it's like everything will be fine, and then it'll be a sentence where it's like, and then Addie thought about her brother and her dad and her baby sister and how none of them were around, and how she missed them so much, and then I start to just feel like overwhelmed with like the sadness of a family being split up,
It echoes.
and like
It emanates.
yeah, and it was like it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I think it's going to stay.
I know it's gonna be a struggle. I think.
Yeah.
But a fun struggle in the sense that they're well written books.
Emotional. Fun, emotional
Yeah.
struggle.
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet?
A little tinge of bitter sometimes.
Yeah.
With an edge of sweet.
It's like eating a chocolate that has like salt on top.
Mm.
You're like
that Snickers thing we had the other day.
Yeah, I mean, that was really good. I want another one.
Me too.
We're going to have to go back.
We can go back on Sunday.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Hey guys, we didn't see you
we
there.
just stumble in.
Come take a seat on the couch.
We'd love to gather around. We have a story to tell you about.
Got a Christmas Carol.
We love a Christmas story here in this American Girl household.
In this 90-degree Texas summer.
It is hot.
It's not as hot as it could be, though.
That's true. It could be worse.
It's hotter in Maryland right now.
Okay, I was talking to my bosses in Toronto. They were like, oh, how hot is it in Fahrenheit? And I told them, and then they told me how hot it was in Celsius, but then they converted it, and it was the exact same temp in Toronto that it was here.
My producer in Boston said it was 102 today, and it was only 91 here.
Yeah, it was
And I was
94 in Toronto today.
And I was like, do you have central AC? And she's like, nope. And I was like, I do.
Well, because I was like freezing cold in our like office building the other day wearing like a huge fleece, and my bosses are in like cut off t-shirts, and I'm like, you guys look hot, like sweaty, please. And they were like, yeah, it's like really warm here. And they were like, why are you wearing a fleece? And I was like, it's so cold.
I know.
It's
That's
so
the struggle of
violently
an
cold.
office building.
And every time, because I'll dress for the outside weather, and then I will like shiver my teeth chatteringly cold. Yeah. Much like Addy at the beginning of this book.
Exactly. Addy is also cold. It is Christmas in Philadelphia, guys. This is our fifth surprise book. What do you think?
I mean, this one might have the most banger actual surprise.
Yeah, it's close.
It's hard to
close
beat.
to Molly's kind of surprise at the end, but better.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's in the same flavor.
It's in the same kind of
profile.
emotion of like, aw. And it's way better than your mom almost dying.
Yeah, and even though you get a dress and some dance lessons, it doesn't make up for the trauma of ruining your whole holiday season.
Of having strep throat.
Yeah.
Which we can only assume is what was wrong.
Yeah, something we could really fix fairly easily today
With
that
penicillin.
almost ruined her family
I
forever.
know. It probably was just like the flu.
It's nuts to think about. A common cold, mayhaps.
The sniffles. But no, this is Addie's surprise. So it's Addie's Christmas story. And like every good Christmas girl, she gets a dress and a doll. And a surprise that is
The surprise.
intangible and super special.
It's true.
So what are you thinking of Addie so far?
I mean, I really like her. I think her world is delicious and interesting and rich, much like that dessert we had the other day.
Yeah. Oh, guys, it was so good.
It was really good.
It's almost as good as the beds we slept in that one time.
Yeah, you
in
know
terms
what?
of just like
it's entering the echelon of our lore.
yeah, in terms
somehow.
of just like decadent experiences that we've had.
Yeah, that dessert, those comfy little beds.
That's it so far. I can't wait to see what
nothing else yet. We've yet to have anything else join the ranks. And I've liked all her outfits. This one's a real banger.
It's very cute. It's very little girl.
It's very little girl.
I imagine it was an easy one to sell because it looks like a dress that a girl in the 90s would wear too.
I also feel like some of the girls' outfits, I'm like, these don't really have like a lot of cross-functional purposes. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know that I would have bought.
No, you could wear this to Christmas church.
I literally am
Yeah.
like, I feel like I would buy this for any of the dolls that I
Yeah,
owned.
it's very
if
cute.
I was given the option. Also, I am going to try to find it to show you. but I owned a dress that looked the skirt was like almost a spot on match.
Was it Seamstress by Ruth Walker?
Crazy if it was.
Would be pretty cool.
Would be pretty neat. But I like her. I think she's cool. Think Addy, I feel like, is on a real education pilled train. So I'm excited to kind of see where her steps continue to lead her. And I think she's got a cool community building around her. What do you think?
I agree, and I think I do think these are the books that I'm getting the most actual information out of.
Yes.
But I do think Connie is doing a very good job of not making it besides that one Civil War paragraph in the last book, and that was in school, so cop out.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
But I think she's doing a very good job of making the information naturally come in a way that not accusatorily, but I'm like, oh, is that really how that was? And then I go look it up, and it's that's what I love about
It's very
historical
casual.
fiction is when I read something and I want to look it up after, and I want to see if that's actually true or if that's actually how things were, because I was convinced by the writer that was true. So I like her. I think I'm impressed with the writing of the books and kind of the heart in the books. And my one thing that I think is crazy with this book though is the first 3 chapters are nothing.
Okay.
And then everything in the world happens in chapters 4 and 5.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This one was a little bit of a slog for me to read that I switched to on occasion. I'll listen to somebody read them
Ooh.
to me. Because
Give her a shout out.
I can look up who this one specifically was. I usually switch it up, but she's my favorite one. I've had somebody read the book to me so far. I listened to American Girl Read Aloud, All for the Dolls.
For the Dolls.
That's her full channel name.
Go check her out, guys, if you want to reread the books
cute.
aloud.
She dresses up the doll in the outfit, and the doll stands off to the side, and she reads. And I listen to them at 1.5 speed because I cannot stand listening to people read at normal speeds.
Okay.
But anyway, it was a little bit of a slog for me to read this one. That's my only complaint.
It's a lot of similar to a Kirsten Shore adventure. There's a lot of background finances going on.
Oh, I was literally gonna say this book for me had the same energy as Kirsten Saves the Day, where you're kind of just I'm waiting for the plot to happen.
But I do like the plot.
The plot is good.
Yeah.
And I understand why it is written and paced the way that it is, but I was I know something must be coming at the end.
Yeah.
But boy, are we taking our sweet time to get there.
Yeah.
And I would say her first girl fixation, scarf and money.
Thank God.
Crazy.
Harriet was first girl fixation, actually.
Oh, I guess literal girl fixation. That's true, yes.
And then Scar. It's Harriet was her singing bird.
Ugh.
But
so
worse.
True. But worse. Worse and less romantic.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, should we just get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
With my favorite chapter name, chapter 1.
This one.
The Winds of Winter.
Yeah.
Straight from Game of Thrones.
Delicious.
She came up, George R.R. Martin read this
and was
in 1993 and was like,
I'm going to write such a series of books.
It kind of spits fire, he said. It's like, I could write something completely different from this.
Write a whole series on this.
So Addy wakes up in the garret and it is freezing cold. And Mama gets out of bed and Addy curls up into her little spot and it's warm there still, but little relief because then Mama says, hey, I need your help. Snow is piling up on the windowsill because the window is broken. So she and Addy try and close the window and they end up stuffing it with a bunch of rags and it's freezing cold. There's no heat and they don't have enough coal to keep the fire going at night. They can only use it for cooking.
Ugh, I know.
Which I guess is so stupid of me to say this, but I can't believe coal costs money. I know it does now even.
Honest, and my only bitchy take here is and I know we have a whole debate about what the mother should or shouldn't have brought up to the shopkeeper, but I don't understand why that wouldn't just be a part of the deal. If your work, part of your pay. Enough coal that you and your child can be warm
freeze to
in the
death.
winter. Like,
Yeah.
yes, she said it's hot in the summer and cold in the winter, but why not? Like, you can escape the cold.
Well, I mean, at this point
At
too,
this time.
there's nothing you can really do about the heat. Like,
exactly. You
that's
can't
just
really
part of
escape
life
it.
at this time period,
Fine.
you know.
But yeah, we can solve this problem. It's
Yeah.
very solvable.
And so then Mama's just like, well, if you want to get warm, then get dressed quickly. It'll warm you up.
Yep. Spring out of bed.
And Addie's like, I'm gonna put on my damp boots last.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh god, that sounds
haunting.
awful. Like, ugh.
Yeah, that they didn't dry enough overnight.
Her dogs must be freezing.
Oh my god.
I hope she got some thick wool socks.
She definitely
She
doesn't.
definitely doesn't. Now she's wishing for those thick wool outfits she wore in the Escape. You know,
Yeah, she's wanting those soldiers'
those
fatigues back.
pantaloons. Yeah.
I know they should have took those with them.
I know. But Mama's working on breakfast, and there is a very pretty dress in the corner that is apparently for a rich little girl in town named like something Howell. It's the Howell family. And
Izzy?
maybe
Something like that.
And Mom's been working very hard on it because apparently Mrs. Howell is very particular. But the problem is that she has to work by candlelight at night to get it done, and it's very hard. It's like straining on her eyes to see it. So then,
because they have one tiny window, and I'm sure it's not getting much
well,
moonlight.
especially at night.
Yeah,
Like,
are you kidding?
if they're on the second floor, the street lamps are like below.
Yeah,
so they're
so
not getting anything.
It's bunk.
And it's a single candle, and so she's like, it's not good.
It's
They're
not
having
good.
troubles. And so they look in their piggy bank, basically, and they see how much money they have saved for a lamp, which they're both excited to get.
I know, it's very cute.
And I'm like, oh, God, this is a different.
But that lamp's expensive.
Yeah.
That lamp's like...
And it's just like a kerosene lamp, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like a bigger candle.
Also, then I'm like, damn, if we get the kerosene lamp, what are we doing with the how are we affording kerosene?
I think kerosene lasts a while. I say with no knowledge of kerosene.
I was like, you know, I believe you because I have zero kerosene knowledge.
It's gonna be similar to the coal situation where they can only use it sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
But I think it does create a brighter light.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that's the.
Hey, any kerosene heads, send off in the comments.
Yeah, let us know how long kerosene.
Let us know realistically.
And if that's even the right oil. We don't know
how helpful it is or isn't.
Well, we do know they don't have enough money yet.
Ain't that the truth?
And they have other things that they have to like pay for. So like
trade off.
It's basically like lamp money is like bonus money. So they're putting extra money in the lamp whenever they have some spare. And Addie mentions that she's not making money because she's doing deliveries for Miss Ford. And so she's putting her tips in there as well. So they're both contributing. And so then Mom is braiding her hair for school. And Addie's like, I miss our family so much. Like, do you remember last Christmas when we were all together and you made the sweet potato pudding and we all loved it and we were so happy? And I cried for the first time. Where I'm like, this is probably breaking Mama's heart too.
Oh my God.
And she has to be strong.
She's like, yep, I hear you. Monologuing your sadness
She's
at me
like,
again.
2 of my children are gone and my husband. And I don't know where one of them is or my husband. And I hope to God the other one's okay.
Yeah.
Like, no letters.
Just hoping that the baby's not sick or anything.
Or dead.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like, that's
no,
the crazy
you don't.
thing.
Literally
you
don't know.
Baby could have gotten like whooping cough.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. We don't know. We don't know.
Or been like punished.
Yeah.
Like the caregivers could have been punished because like they're gone.
Yeah. So it's tough all around. And Mama can just like put on a brave face. So she braids Addie's hair and sends her off to school. And so Sarah and Addie are walking to school together. And Sarah is like, oh my God, you're going to have so much fun when we do Christmas this year. The church like goes all out. There's pine everywhere. And it's all lit up. And we sing. And they do a shadow puppet show. And we have a feast. And it's going to be so fun. And Addie's like, that sounds fun. She doesn't sound that excited, honestly. Like, even for the shadow puppet show, she's kind of like, that's cool.
I will say, though, Sarah got me hyped up.
Yeah.
She's
a good hype woman.
Yeah, I'm not particularly religious now, but I grew up and I would go to Episcopal church with my grandmother. And, like, the holidays, especially, like, Christmas, was always, like, a party. And they were, like, very community-oriented. They were very much like a bring whoever, bring your friends, bring your family, like, bring your neighbors, doesn't matter. Like, and it would be, like, food and feasting. And then we would do, like, that's where there's a very iconic picture of me dressed up as Mother Mary playing electric guitar.
That's a good one.
So good. But
Queen-
like,
Send me that so I can put the Getty image on.
yeah, I got you. Oh, that's a different one. The Willy
Oh.
Wonka goggles is my Getty image. This one's just a boring old like Nokia camera. But I'll send it to you. But I was like, yeah, I understand. I was like, Addy is gonna have the time of her life because
See, I had the opposite experience in Catholic church. I don't know if you know this.
I know a little bit.
You don't sing Christmas carols until after Christmas.
So I didn't know that.
Jesus isn't born yet, so why would you sing songs about him? Is what the rule is. So you only start singing Christmas carols on the 26th, and it's like a bummer.
That's lame.
I know, doesn't that suck?
Yeah.
You like sing normal songs, and then it's like Christmas is over, you're depressed, and all of a sudden you're singing like "Hark the Herald Angels Sing."
They're
You're
like banger songs.
You're like tease me less.
But what about? Can you sing? I saw three ships.
I saw three ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw
That
three
one feels
ships come
like
sailing on Christmas Day in the morning.
That one feels like you should get it.
I don't think that's religious though.
It's about the ships, isn't it? Coming
thought it
in
was
to
an
see
Irish
baby
song.
Jesus.
No, they walked there.
I was making shit up.
Did you know
I guess I don't know the meaning of that song.
do you know what child is this?
I do know that song.
So do you know that it's Henry VIII wrote a song about Anne Boleyn to the same tune called Greensleeves?
I love green.
It's about Anne Boleyn.
Sleeves. Really?
Yeah.
I love green sleeves. I know how to play it on guitar.
She'll play it for us later, guys.
Yeah, I'll get my little steel guitar out.
But so speaking of all the singing and stuff, Sarah is part of the choir. Oh, did you find the date?
No, I just didn't know what the song was about. Sorry, guys. This is not related at all. But in case you're wondering, it's the three ships may be, oh, this is just hypothetical. Those which were said to transport the relics of the biblical Magi to Cologne Cathedral in the 12th century.
Okay, so it's way past.
So not related to the birth of Jesus at all. Anyway,
A little bit related, but
so that's my church box.
but speaking of singing,
Well, yeah, so Addy busy, so
Yeah.
she can't learn all those songs.
but Sarah says she'll teach Addy the song so she can do the choir. I don't think she does the choir, but it's a nice
No,
offer
but it's
from
cute.
a good friend. And she teaches her the words to Joy to the World.
And who doesn't love a song?
Yeah, and they skip down the streets of Philly singing Joy to the World, which is
I can still play that on guitar too.
yeah, very cute.
E E F G G F E D C C D E E G G.
I hear it in my head.
Fun
It's like I just listened to it. And so that's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2, Something Pretty. Addie is the DoorDash of dresses for this holiday season and is going around town dropping fancy dresses off at all these fancy houses, and she likes going to the fancy houses and seeing all the nice decorations, and she's just kind of dazzled by wealth.
The art in
Um,
these books is so cute.
I like it.
Her
Did you see what I
Aaron-
sent you of the old art?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It's more literal.
it feels much more like the OG Three Girls OG art. So I guess that kind of makes sense. But this art is very wonderful.
Yeah, I do like
I'm very
the art.
charmed by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
like the art a lot. And so she's dropping off all the dresses and she's getting tips and all that stuff. And she ends up walking by Mr. Del Monte's secondhand shop and she spots in the window a beautiful red scarf. And she locks in on it. She walks in the shop. Mr. Del Monte knows Addie, likes Addie. And is like, "Hey girl, what are you doing here? Want to check out my wares?" And so he goes and shows her the scarf, and she's like, "This is the prettiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I love it so much. My mom would look beautiful in this, and she is so cool, and she is so nice, and she is so brave, and she deserves something beautiful."
For Christmas.
And I did start to tear up
Yeah,
because I'm
it's
like, she
cute.
loves her mom, and she wants her mom to. She's like, "I bet my mom would be the prettiest woman at church in a little red scarf." And I'm
No.
like, "That's so cute."
I think this is the most. This is where Addie started to solidify as a person. To me,
Yeah, I
feel
agree.
like
Mm-hmm.
what this chapter and then onward through the book, I was like, okay, I think we're getting her.
Yeah.
I'm seeing her now.
Yeah. And so she asked Mr. Del Monte how much the scarf cost, and he says it's 20 cents.
Too much money.
And she's like, "I don't have that now, but can you put it on hold for me?" And he says, "I can do you one better. I can put it back on the shelf, and I'll like keep it a little hidden, but it's still for sale. And I was like, well, you
That's
could've-"
actually not one better.
I was like, well, that's just it's just kind of like he's like, I hear you, Addy. I love the idea. I'm gonna put it right back where you found it, but you're the only one who's seen it maybe today, so I think it'll still be there. I'm like,
yeah, unless like somebody's nosy like me and is like shuffling around on the shelves and then is like, is somebody hiding this because they want it?
because of right,
I hate to see a thing hidden at
because
a
you know
grocery
it's like a forbidden fruit now.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I don't even want this, but I do want to move it now.
Because it's right by like a rusty tea kettle, so it's going to shine, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Addie seems okay with this compromise, though.
She doesn't know any better. She doesn't know yet the ways of properly hiding a coveted good that you
Where
can't
would
quite
you have
buy.
hidden it?
Inside the pot.
What if someone bought the pot?
Then you put the pot at the back of the store.
That's good.
Under some things. Maybe
Yeah.
under a table. On like the ground.
Yeah,
Where somebody'd have to bend down to look at it.
that's good. I was thinking pot first, too, and I was worried that someone would like take
Yeah.
the teapot.
You just gotta complicate it more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
We can combine the vision.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So she decides if I split my tips that I get, like if I split my tips every day between the lamp and the scarf, then I might have enough money before Christmas to buy Mama the scarf. So she's excited. She heads home. She enters the shop, and Miss Ford says, "Oh, Addie, you look like you're freezing." And she's like, "Well, it's cold out."
Yeah. She's like, so
it's the
big
cold.
news. It's winter.
And she asks Mama if she can turn the oven on. And Mama says, "No, I'm going to be up in like 3 hours anyway. So just like wait."
Yeah, you'll be good till then.
And then Miss Ford is like, "Hey, everything going okay up in that garret?" And Mama is like, "Yeah, we get by." And Addie kind of has a moment on the steps where she's like, "Should I turn around and tell Miss Garrett that we're freezing to death upstairs?"
Right. That we don't have enough coal to get us through the night. So we're cold.
Yeah. And then she decides not to. And I do want to just briefly talk about, do you think Mama should have said something?
So I debated this too.
Mm-hmm. I get the pride element and that she maybe feels like Miss Ford has already given them a lot.
Yes, I said I felt like it wouldn't seem unfair to me to at least ask for like the broken window to be repaired if you're not going to ask for more coal, or at least to be like, could you spare some additional coal, or could I, like I don't think she's going to ask for more money or anything like that, right? Like I think she's like, this is what we have right now, so I'll work with it. But I do understand, right, why she wouldn't also maybe want to be perceived as like a nuisance or asking for too much, because she also knows that Mrs. Ford has been a little leery of some of her past workers.
Yeah.
Although in that case, it's because they literally up and like left her, not because they were too demanding or anything. I don't feel like she would have lost anything by asking.
I just feel like from like, and again, this just like from an employer perspective, if I have someone who works with their hands all day,
Yes.
I would want those hands to be kept toasty.
Well, and I was gonna say, and I wouldn't want her to get sick.
Yeah.
If she's like my only person who's helping me in my shop,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my star seamstress to like
Well, and I think it's also like,
fall
again,
ill,
it's
be
easier to say like
cold.
you should just ask when it's like,
Of course.
hey, look, we were off the street and this woman let us like move into her place and gave me a job. Like I understand that, but I also think there's a level of it that's like, if Addie's out running errands all day and like at school and she's done seamstress shop all day, then they only need coal for like 12 hours. And coal heads tell us how much coal that would be. But like if they just need extra coal so they can do things beyond just like keeping the oven going when they're only cooking, like I think that's like a ask that I feel like they should ask. Like for their health too, you know?
It doesn't, I don't know. I think it's hard to tell totally where how much time has passed.
Yeah.
For me.
I think
Right,
like 6 months.
A couple, like
Yeah.
half the year maybe. So to me at this point, I feel like not that unfair, especially because like in these times, it's not that time moved more slowly, but there were less things to go and like do in a day. So we learn it literally at the start of last book. She's spending like Addie like all day in there. What like I'm assuming on the weekends when she's not doing errands and stuff, you're just in that little box,
Mhm.
which I imagine is miserable.
You're
'Cause
just
you're
wrapped in your
cold all
quilt
day.
all day. Ugh.
Right. So I don't know. I feel like not that unfair.
Yeah,
I would have
agree.
asked, but
So Addie goes upstairs and she counts her coins and she sees that she has 10 cents for the scarf. So she's halfway to buying the scarf. And she's like, yes,
yeah,
best
and
Christmas ever.
that thought keeps her warm.
Yeah, not that warm, but
Not that warm, but a little warmer.
metaphorically.
Metaphorically warm in her heart.
And so then chapter 3, super short chapter.
Oh, listen. I switched over to listening at this point. So I re-listened to 2 and then it switched to 3 and I literally was like when she finished chapter 3 I was like I had to click over to the YouTube video and be like, "Did I mishear?"
Yeah.
She was like, "That's the end of chapter 3. Chapter 4."
Chapter 3 is freedom ain't free. And it's just like their church service.
Yeah.
So they go to the
It's like
church.
5 pages long.
Yeah.
Without the illustration.
Yeah. They go to the church service, and the reverend is preaching about the holiday season and how it's time for giving. And he starts talking about how they're working the Freedmen's Bureau. And with the war heating up, they're getting a lot of freed slaves coming in the harbors, and they need help. They need money. They need volunteers. And in the season of giving, a lot of people in the congregation were once former slaves who got helped out. And he's kind of just pleading to people like, use your generosity of spirit in this holiday season. If you can't afford to donate money, then donate time. And it's like a church. People are shouting out like Addie likes church because you can talk to them like Reverend during church. You can be like, I agree, or like,
Yeah.
hell
she
yeah.
she loves audience participation.
Yeah, which I wish more churches had.
That's
I
true.
think we
I
should
agree.
be in Catholic church. You better believe you're not.
I will say anytime like it's so funny the way stuff changes in life because when I was little I would go like if you would sleep over with a friend on a Saturday, you would go to church with their family on like a Sunday. This happened to me a couple did you do that?
A few times, but I would
Like not like
avoid it
often.
like the plague.
Yeah, well I had to learn my lesson.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Well like
Celia learns a lesson.
I've gone to a lot of weird
picture of you
churches
in a
as
pew.
a kid. Yeah. Yeah. And it's me like bug-eyed when like cuz like I said like I really grew up in like party church. I was baptized Catholic, but I went to Episcopal church.
Yeah.
So like I just thought that was what church was for a long time and then I would go with friends to like much more severe is a great word for it. Churches and sermons and I would be like
This isn't the church I read about.
why aren't you guys and I didn't know the call and responses and like I didn't like one time I went to somebody's church and they had like a booklet of like what we were gonna go through that day and it was I'm not kidding like 17 pages. It was like sermon, hymns, sermon, prayers, sermon, like another thing and then it'd be like the boy like the what are they called? Barrister boys. The boys.
Altar boys?
Altar boys.
Yeah.
LOL. Are going to do this presentation of the candle. And then it'd be like another hymn. And then it'd be like thank yous. And then it'd be like the tithing. And I was like, why is this so many? And of course I was like a kid, so I didn't know any better. But I imagine it's probably fun for her anyway to go to church.
Well, the
'cause
church
it's
is like her community, you know? It sounds like a lot
it's
of the
like
stuff that they
school
do.
part 2.
Yeah. And she gets to see her friends. She gets to sing. She gets to participate in church. She gets to have a voice. So she likes that.
Oh, yeah.
So the reverend like really amps everyone up. They sing this little light of mine. And then when she and Mama are leaving, Mama's like, you know what? We should maybe give our lamp fund to the donations. And Addie's like,
Addie's gut instinct is like,
no, but we need lamp.
I don't think so.
We need lamp.
She's like, you're really ruining my plans, Mama, behind the scenes.
And she's like, well, I don't want to tell Mama that I have my own secret stash of money to buy a scarf. And so then she's like, I feel guilty about this. A little Catholic comes out in her. She's like, well, maybe I'll just volunteer as like my contribution since I don't want to give up my money. And she asked Mama if she can go help down at the piers and greet the newly freed slaves. And Mama says she can. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yep.
Smooth, easy. But the next two
Jesus Christ.
are like 2 separate books.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and get through them a little Not quick, but
I feel like chapter 4.
Yeah.
Okay, chapter 4 is a good chapter, but
Yeah.
I was like, once I read chapter 5, I was like, why did we spend so much time
at the docks.
at the docks?
Yeah. Because we had to learn a lesson.
Yeah, she had to learn another lesson.
Yeah.
Even though I felt like she kind of learned the heart of this lesson in the last chapter.
It should have been this part. The first part of chapter 4 should have been in chapter 3, I think.
I think so too. I think it.
And it would have been the same amount of pages, just would have been less crazy.
Yes, I agree. Anyway.
So chapter 4, the cost of freedom. So Addy is down by the docks, a bleak place to be. There's sailors, there's smells, there's swarthy men.
Stink City.
Stink City, even in the wintertime. And she's waiting for the boat to come in that has some newly freed slaves on it so she can escort them to the Trinity Church. And so the boat comes in and she notices that everyone looks really like bedraggled. And she's shocked kind of by like how bad everyone looks. And it is like, I guess they came in the summer and winter is probably a harder time to escape or to leave because you have less, you can only take what you have with you. And so people are in threadbare clothes, they're shivering, they look sick, people are sicker. And she stumbles, she's looking for her brother and her dad and her sister, and she doesn't see anyone she recognizes. And so she's a little bummed. And then she hears a baby cry and she thinks it might be Esther. And then it's not, obviously. But she goes up to the woman with the baby and she offers her shawl to wrap the baby in to keep the baby warm. And she tells the woman who looks very tired, like, I can hold the baby for you. And so Addy holds the baby and the baby, like, grabs onto her necklace, likes her. And the woman's like, oh, she's taking a shine to you. She doesn't like just anybody. And so then Addy asks where they're coming from. And they're coming from Maryland, I think she said, that they were all turned off their plantation. They were just all free and set loose. And
It's crazy.
she walked to Baltimore. And this is my Maryland area guessing, I guess. They're probably not from the Eastern Shore because they'd have to take a boat to get across the Eastern Shore. And you can get from the Eastern Shore up through the Delaware to Philadelphia without having to go through Baltimore. So they're probably not from the Eastern Shore. They might be from the west of Maryland. Or even, I mean, honestly, even near me, there's some farm towns that could have used to be something. Even Annapolis, I guess. But, like, Annapolis is a city, and so there's not any plantation houses, thank God, where I grew up. But I know we have farm country out in the west of Maryland. So to walk from Baltimore would probably take, like, 2 or 3 days. So they walked for 2 or 3 days to get to Baltimore, where it sounds like they met with the Freedmen's Bureau there that sent them to Philadelphia. We're inundated because the state isn't supposed to be free. And it's probably Baltimore, Baltimore's probably like the first major city that would have a Freedmen's Bureau.
Sure.
Along the way of people coming.
Accessible to people who are.
I imagine. Besides maybe DC, but I think DC is like in a war zone, so.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know. This is just me guessing.
Just kind of free speculating.
But it did bring up an interesting point that I guess, like, not that I didn't think of, but as the war was ending, and kind of even with the conversation that Addy's previous owner was having with, like, finances and stuff, and knowing that, like, the North was coming, a lot of people were just, like, turning their slaves loose.
Oh, yeah.
And then
well,
that's
they couldn't afford to take care of them anymore. They couldn't afford to take care is generous, but
yeah.
You know what I mean.
But so that's like it's an interesting thing that I don't think we like talked about that much in school, of the fact that like dozens of people were just being like set loose with nowhere to go, no food, no proper clothing, no idea of what to do next.
Correct.
And just having
There's
to, like,
no
wander away.
infrastructure set up.
Yeah. So it was just something that I feel like isn't really touched on, like you were saying last about like the Freedmen's Bureau itself. Like, especially, I think I'd be interested to do a little bit more research on Maryland in particular, and like what happened with that dynamic of being a slave state, basically, that was forced because of location to join the Union and free the slaves, and like how that was handled, you know? Yeah. So Addie's walking with this woman and talking to her, and they're walking alongside this wagon that also has an old man in it who's very sick, and a young man in it who has like a bloodied rag of a foot. And Addy is feeling very like shocked, I think, by
Oh yeah,
the state
it's
of people.
a lot for her to take in at once.
Yeah.
And again, she's 9.
Yeah. And so she is kind of like, so she takes them to the Trinity Church and she drops everyone off. And then she goes to run her errands for Mama for the day and Mrs. Ford. And she's like less enchanted by the opulence that she sees because she sees like a rich guy walking with like a nice cane and she thinks about like the boy who is limping. She sees like a baby like that's all like swaddled and thinks about like the shivering baby she was holding. And she's just kind of like she's realizing that like the has and the have nots, kind of, you know?
Oh yeah, very much that. It's like you said. I feel like the curtain she's peeking behind with Harriet last book, and then now the curtain has been moved, and she's a little bit more faced with like, oh, even like there will be people worse off than like
Me and Mom.
me and Mom.
Yeah.
Like, of course, there's still caveats to their freedom, but that like they have a roof over their head and they have meals in their bellies and they're not sick right now.
Yeah.
And even though like her family's separated, like,
She has her mom. Yeah.
oh yeah, and like they have jobs and she can have money versus
yeah.
like where are these people going?
Which is kind of like what Mama has been like telling her all along,
Yeah.
kind of. But
100%.
so she goes to do her last errand of the day, and it's at the Howells, who had the fancy plaid dress that she
Also,
liked.
I found my photo of the dress.
Oh, nice.
My computer might die before I can show you otherwise. But
Ooh.
the skirt
Yes.
is exactly
Oh, yeah, send that to me and
the
I'll post
pattern.
it
Yes,
for
ma'am.
everyone to see.
Also-
Long-haired Celia.
very funny. I literally said nominating myself as American Girl Doll 2014, debuting in my 1860 Christmas formal wear because this is a vintage from 1860
So
dress.
Ruth Walker could have made it.
So she could have made it.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
That is pretty cool. Do you still have it?
It would be at my grandmother's house, so probably somewhere.
That's very
in a
cool.
box. Yeah. Anyway, silly
Yeah.
fun fact.
Yeah. But so the real dress from the book gets delivered, and the maid gives Addy a 10-cent tip,
She's geeked about it.
which is a tenth of what her mom makes in a week.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Also, I love kind of the way that like the coin is given to her, kind of just like thanks, whatever, and she kind of pockets it. And when I give like ghost tours and people give me tips, I always am very intentional, to, like not look at because like whatever, money is money. I'm never gonna be ungrateful for receiving like a tip, but like it is always the like reveal of
Yeah,
like,
it is exciting.
is it a 5? Is it a 1? Is it a 20?
So it felt
is it a
interesting
couple?
when you don't look at the tip when people
Mhm.
write it, and then you get it, and you're like,
Yeah,
and
and
when it's big, you're like,
when it's big, you're like, yeah, kicking your feet,
and
skipping
when it's
down
little,
the
you're
road.
like, fuck off.
You're like, well, thank you for the money, but I'm mad.
Sometimes I don't even want the money if it's too
No,
little. I'm like,
sometimes it is just like, you know what? Wish you hadn't.
you
Wish
need it more
just
than I
left
do.
it.
But 10 cents is huge.
This is big.
So
She's well on her way.
She has enough money to get the scarf. It's still in the window. She checked. And so then when she goes on the craziest errand of all time, which is to the scissor sharpening shop, which I never even thought of. Do I need to sharpen my scissors?
Oh yeah, if you're like a sewer, yeah,
Okay, well I'm not.
you gotta sharpen your shears.
Where do I do that? There's no more scissor sharpening shops. It's hard to say.
No, you could buy like a stone or like there's lots of little ways to do it. They have like normally like a nicer pair of scissors now, like the sewing shears that I have. The case that they come in, if you take it out and you flip it upside down and you stick the blade in and out, it's like a self sharpener.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, so Addy takes Miss Ford's scissors to the sharpening shop. And she doesn't like to wait inside because the noise is loud.
Honestly, I get it.
And so
It's a terrible noise.
Yeah. So she steps outside and fantasizes about the scarf.
Yeah. And then she hears another baby cry.
And then she thinks of baby Esther.
Again.
Again. It's the wind.
Ugh. Sorry. I thought somebody was trying to break into Caroline's apartment.
We'll catch it on camera.
Yeah.
So, she hears a baby, and then she thinks about the baby that she was holding during the day and how the Reverend had said that, like, every little bit counts. And Addy thinks, well, like, if every little bit helps, then this little bit I have could help a little bitty baby. There's a reference for you.
Bitty baby.
And she thinks, like, maybe the baby I would end up helping might be Esther if I, like, donate my money. And so she decides to sacrifice her scarf money and donate to the Trinity Church, which I'm kind of torn on.
Yes. I think that she could have kept her tip
Yeah.
personally.
I think it's a nice gesture. I don't think it goes without, but
No.
I was kind of like, no, don't do it.
I was gonna say, but selfishly my note here was I think that this part of the story is so simple but so effective as like an adult reading the books, in that I have met lots of children in my 20s, because my parents' friends have kids, our friends have kids, my friends have kids, whatever. And you meet these kids, and sometimes you meet a child and you're like, I don't know how your parents are raising you, because you have like no like awareness of the world around you, and those are lessons you have to instill in your own children, compassion and caring and things like that. And I'm not saying every kid needs to know like I should donate stuff, but like it's cute when little kids like my like honorary aunt and uncle, I call them, they have a daughter who every year will like fundraise for like a different charity, and she'll call us every year and like pitch us on it, and then ask for, and every year I will give her like a donation. And I think that's very charming. So I think it's very cute in this book that it does at least show that like kind of unprompted, she was like taught it face to face. She had the conversation with her mom. And then I did like that the outcome is that she on her own makes the decision to give away, to make the unselfish decision to like give the money of her own.
I know, it's very sweet. She was so excited about the scarf, and it does. I think it's very like it shows that she is like thinking of a greater cause, and I think that's great. But it just like I was a little bit like, oh, but like
selfishly,
yeah,
I'm hoping that maybe in later books she will get to kind of all of Felicity, like she gets the dress, and we'll talk about that then. But I'm hoping that there will sort of be a chance where she just gets something done nice for her, perhaps like in her birthday book, or hopefully, because I do feel like, okay, great, we've seen her be selfless.
she's a good little kid.
She's a good little kid.
Yeah,
she's great. But I'm hoping,
it's just like the fact that they have almost. I think it's very admirable of her and Mama, who don't. It's not like they're trying to buy frivolous. Besides the scarf, which is a gift, but like the lamp
it's a
is
practical
something,
gift.
But the lamp is something they need.
Yes,
it's not something like it's something that would help her job. It's not like we want this like new quilt because it's pretty. And the fact that they donated, I think, shows like they're charity minded people, and that they're just very like they're good stock the walkers, So Addie gives it, and she heads home, and she walks into the shop, and she's about to go upstairs, and Miss Ford says, Addie, why don't you like hang out down here? Because Miss Ford has clocked that something is slightly awry with her
it's
tenants.
It's Cold City.
Yeah. So she tells Addie that like she can help out, and she knows that Addie's mom has been teaching her how to sew a little bit. And so she's like, well, why don't you sit by your mom and hang out and just sew the little hemline of this for me? And so Addie is really excited about this because she's been wanting to hang out with Mama more. And she is feeling like this is a little bit of a treat reward for her for the good deed she just did.
Yeah. I do like that she's given an activity.
Yeah, and I think it's, which I kind of feel
more
like
stitching.
Okay, but I felt like Miss Ford should have done this earlier.
Yeah. I don't really understand, if she's already running errands, why this wasn't sort of already just like you can hang out with your mom down here if you behave yourself and you're out of the way.
Like help out a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I concur.
Anyways, it's happening now. And chapter 5, Christmas surprises.
Boy, are there.
So Addie is excited to be in the shop during the day, and she likes helping out her mom, and she helps them like pick up things off the ground. She helps them like spool thread. She helps do the hemlines on things. And it's like feeling cheery. It's feeling more like Christmas time. But then one day, an angry woman comes into the shop.
Uh-oh.
Mrs. Howell comes like in the shop and is like, this dress is shitty. Boo.
Boo.
And her daughter's behind her like,
bro, humiliation ritual. Let me tell you.
And she's like, you made this dress too small for my daughter. This is some shitty craftsmanship. And Miss Ford goes, hold on a second. No. Ruth Walker is the best seamstress I've ever had. It's not my fault your daughter's too goddamn fat to fit in the dress.
It's crazy.
As this girl's standing there behind them.
Yeah.
She's like, you gave us, the measurements were right. We sewed to the measurements. She probably grew. And that's not my fucking fault.
Also, the dress, it's like described in the book that like the dress that they're handed back is
Like,
like has
frayed.
been like busted, like the way like when you put on an outfit and you try to zip it up and then like you break the zipper because you're like, oh shit, like this doesn't fit, or you're like trying something on in the dressing room and it's like the worst feeling because like you have the dress almost over your head and then you're like, I don't think I can get out of this dress.
That's humiliating.
Yeah, it's like the worst feeling.
It's a
So for your mom to like bring you to the shop and be like, how dare you insult me? And I'm like, damn, you're actually making it worse.
I know. It's a humiliation ritual for the daughter.
Yes, 100%.
But there was one time my mom had this dress that was like, she got it from like something. It wasn't like she bought it. She like got it. I forget how. But it was like cute. And it looked like a dress. It was like way too young for her. It looked like a dress from like Gossip Girl or something.
Okay.
That like Blair would have worn.
Yeah.
And like one day when she wasn't home, like I went into, and this like wasn't like that I wasn't allowed to, but I didn't want to tell her I wanted to try it on. So I went into her closet and tried it on, and it had no zipper to it, and it was like an ampier waist, and it was just a touch too tight, and I could get in it, but I could not get out of it.
Yes.
Because like I was able to slide it over my head, but then I couldn't get like my shoulders out of it.
No, it's the worst feeling.
And I was like literally like cross arm, like panic cry, screaming,
it's like a
crying.
straitjacket. When a dress gets stuck on you and you're not sure how you're getting out, it is like I'm locked in a room and I have to escape like Harry Houdini style.
I know.
And I'm failing the magic trick.
I think it was the first time I learned about the like cross arm flip over to get something off. Because I like literally had to like dislocate my shoulder to get
Oh
out.
yeah. It's like a horrific feeling.
It was so
Sometimes
humiliating.
I'm like, I don't even know how I got in the dress.
I know. I don't know how I got in it.
No, one of the last times I ever tried on like formal wear at like a Nordstrom rack, I was like, oh, perfect. And I put on a dress I thought was really cute. And I was like, okay. And then I literally couldn't tell you how I got in that dress because I was like sweating. Sweating bullets.
Yeah.
And I had to ask like a girl who was working. I was like, I have like a cami and like shorts on under this. But I was like, I need you to like, can you please, I'm so sorry. I was like, can you please come in and like
rip this off me?
I was like, I just need you to pull and I'll hold.
Yeah.
So we can get it off. And she's like, yeah, no problem.
I know. It really is just like a true panic moment.
And then it's even worse when you don't buy the thing you got stuck in.
Well, you can't. Choose
No, I'm like, well, I'm never going to put this on again because I'm not going to traumatize myself.
It's a piece of humiliation. It's like getting a ring stuck on your finger too.
Worst feeling ever.
You're like, I'm so fat. My fat
well,
fingers.
And then like your finger starts turning like a different color and you're
swelling.
Like, and you're like, and then you get panicked. So then your blood pressure rises and then all the blood's rushing to your finger and you're like.
So these are all the things this girl is feeling. And then her mom made her come to the shop and show everyone that she was.
And be like, this dress doesn't fit you.
But Miss Ford does really stand up for Ruth. And she's like, look, I'll refund you for the dress because you're not a satisfied customer. But I'm letting you know I'm refunding you because you're not satisfied, not because there is anything wrong with the dress. And the woman like throws the dress on it and leaves in a huff. And you're like kind of like, okay, Miss Ford. And you're kind of showing that abolitionist side you told us about. Finally.
Okay, queen.
And so that's it. And then there's they kind of end the dress part there.
Yeah.
And then Addy is doing her final errand on Christmas Eve, and it's like she had to drop off a hat. And so she drops off a hat.
The grind never stops.
Yeah. She comes back in the shop, and Mama's not there, and Miss Ford is just working. And Addie's like, where's Mom? And she's like, I sent her upstairs. Like, we're done for the day. I'm closing early. But I have a little gift for you. And Addie's like, a pressy from me?
No way. I've never had one of those before.
Yeah, and she opens the box, and Mrs. Ford has fixed and fitted the dress for Addy.
It's so cute.
It's very sweet.
I made a note, and I said, I was wondering how the dress was going to turn around and become hers, because earlier in the book, you see the fabric like 3 times before, and it's clear that it's like the dress that they're making.
In the cover,
Yeah. Well, in the cover, and so I was like, how's the dress gonna? I was dying to know how they were gonna finagle it being her dress, and I was kind of dazzled that
I
it
think
wasn't
it's a cute way that it worked out.
just like, here's some extra scraps again.
Well, yeah, I mean, also, like, it's very sweet, but it also practically makes sense that Miss Ford would be like, I tried to sell this dress, I couldn't. Like, I have a little girl in my garret.
In my garret.
So Mrs. Ford says, all right, the only thing we need to do is hem the dress. So she has Addie to stand still, and she hems the dress, and she, like, cutting off the bottom, and she puts it around her neck. And Addie's like,
Can I have that?
wait a second.
Give me that.
I'm cooking on an idea here. And so Miss Ford says, yeah, you can take this whole dress is yours.
Yeah.
You have every
which is
piece
cute.
of this dress. Yeah. And I think it is very sweet. And so then Addie has an idea, but we don't know it yet. So we go to bed. And it's Christmas morning.
Christmas time
Wake
is
up,
here.
Addie. Christmas. And Mama's like, wake up, Addie. Christmas. Happy Christmas. I have a pressy for you. And she gives Addie a... Sorry, a spaceship just drove by.
Hello.
So it's Addie's mom gives her Christmas present, and it is a doll that she has sewn and stuffed. And it's a cute little doll, and she's like, I stuffed it with beans. We had leftover beans.
Bean
And
alert.
Addie's like, I'm gonna name this doll Ida Bean.
It's good.
And
It's a good name.
I was chuckling.
It's good.
Ida Bean is a funny name.
Ida Bean.
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
Ida Bean.
Icon.
Ida Bean.
I think it's the best doll name yet.
I think so too.
It's good.
Better than Lydia.
She's the most creative
Yeah. Ida Bean.
namer. Ida Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mom's like, all right.
Excellent.
And then Addie's like, well, I have a present for you. Didn't have time to wrap it, so close your eyes and let me hand it to you. And Addie hands her mom a scarf that she made from the dress.
Pretty cute.
And Mom is very touched and loves it. And she tells her mom the whole story. That she was up at night sewing. And I do think one thing is funny is Mom didn't ever ask for a scarf. But she got fixated on scarf. And I think it's a nice gift. Don't get me wrong.
But isn't that very like childlike? Like I feel like when I was little, I would pick like one thing I'd decide. Like growing up, like I love baths because like my mom loved taking baths. So like I was like, oh, like I also want to take baths. So I would always buy my mom like bath supplies. And my mom still likes baths to this day, but I've gotten marginally more creative with my gift giving.
Yeah. I may have told the story before on this podcast, but one year my mom and I were in Michael's before Christmas, and I had like mother's helper money from like helping not babysit, but like sit with a kid. And I was like, oh, I want to buy my mom a Christmas gift. So I told her I was going to go look for a Christmas gift in Michael's, and she couldn't see. And so I took my money and I walked around and I found this like porcelain Santa
Yes.
that was but it was like a Muslim Santa.
Yeah.
He was like an imam.
Yeah.
But he was glittery and he was so beautiful to
Cool.
me that I was like,
This is it.
and not only was it just like not like the right ethnicity for my white family, it just also was not like anything my mom would have put up, even if it was a regular Santa. Like it's just not in our decoration profile. But I was like,
I have a vision.
I was like, she's gonna freak out.
She'll freak out when she sees this.
And I gave it to her, and she was like, "This is so beautiful." And she put it out for years. She might still put it out.
I love that.
It's just like I still think it's pretty, but it's so funny because I remember buying it, being like, "Oh, this is gonna do numbers."
It's like a child's like just sweet delight at like I finally have like money I can give like my parent a gift.
Well, it's truly the thought that counts. You know, it's
yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah. And so Addie and her mom have like a little matching scarf and dress for Christmas, which I think is cute.
Can be the bells of the ball at church.
Yeah, and Addie's like, we're gonna look so good together at church. And they have a fun morning, and they make a bunch of the sweet potato pie pudding that Addie loves, and they have a little extra, so they're like, oh, we can eat it tomorrow. So they put it in their stove, because it's gonna be so cold in the house.
Me eating that Snickers dessert.
Oh, that's so good. We have to go back.
Yeah.
So then they go to church, and it's as lit as Sarah promised. Everyone is having a blast. They're singing. Smells like pine. chorus of angels.
Little shows going on.
They eat, like, they have a feast, and
Yeah.
Addie beelines it for her mom's pudding. She's like, I don't care about anything else on this table. I need that pudding.
Give me that pudding.
Give me that pudding.
Yummy.
And she's having a great time. And then she goes to the kids' show to see the shadow puppet extravaganza. And she's watching it, and she's like, yeah, this is fine. This is cool.
She's like, sure.
And then the door opens, and the figure of a man is in the door. Is it Santa? Is it Father Time? No, she can recognize the silhouette. It's Papa. And I almost sent you a picture. I like started crying.
Well, I read it in the woman who read the book that I shouted out earlier, her like voice started cracking at this point in the book through to the end. Like multiple times she sort of like stumbled and paused because it was clear that like her voice was catching.
It's so cute.
It's very moving. It's very good. But yeah.
I agree. It was me reading it.
Yeah.
So she sees Papa, and he's like, where's my girl? And Addie runs up and hugs him, and it's very sweet. We don't get to see Mama's reaction, but I'm sure she threw up.
I feel like she like fell to her knees and like wailed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they take Papa home, and they're like, guess there's a new tenant in the garret.
It's pretty abrupt.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they just leave.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'd be like, we gotta go
Goodbye.
home. Yeah. And luckily they have some extra pudding for Papa, and it's his favorite thing. And so they go up, and they're going to the house, and they're like, wait a second, like, did we leave the candle going?
Yeah, why is there a light?
And then they open the door. There's a lamp. Mrs. Ford bought them a lamp with a little note that's like, keep up the good work. I like you guys. And they're
It's
like,
very cute.
you better like us a lot, because there's a new one of us.
Yes, I don't need everything in these books for children to be addressed outright, but that is my one. Like,
Where are they all sleeping tonight?
hey, what do you mean? There's a third person in that room?
Yeah.
A,
In that
a
bed.
grown adult.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
We'll see what happens in the next book.
Absolutely, I'm very curious
Yeah.
to see
How the living situation.
especially if we get more children, if we get more of the family back.
Yeah.
Over the next few books,
It's gonna get cramped in the
you
garret.
can't fit them all in there.
Yeah. So they like talk to Papa, and they're like, so what happened? Where you been?
Yeah, what's up?
And he gives them his whole tale. Unfortunately, we find out that he and Sam got separated like 2 days after they got sold to different plantations, which is awful. So we don't know where Sam is.
Yep.
And Addie's like, well, maybe he escaped too. And Papa seems a little bit more like,
He's like, I don't
know.
I wouldn't count
Papa doesn't
on
want to
it.
talk about it, which
Yeah.
is clear. Because I think Papa probably feels guilty about losing his son. Yeah. But Papa gets, I guess, sent to another plantation in Maryland, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, he's immediately...
Kind of has the same deal as the people at the docks.
Which is, like, I think foreshadowing, kind of. And so then he also makes his way to Baltimore, and he works with the Baltimore Freedmen's Bureau and says that his family is in Philadelphia. And so then he works to find out, like, if they know anything about the Walkers, and I guess they say they do, so then he makes the plan to come up. And so they're three reunited, and they're very happy, but they still need Esther and Auntie Lula and Uncle Solomon and Sam. And so it's, like, happy, but a little sad.
It's like the beginning of the next chapter.
Yeah, we're slowly pulling the family back together.
That's right.
And the book ends with Papa fixing the broken window because he's like a carpenter.
It is funny though the way that it describes it.
They're
basically like, well, we'll never be warm because the window is broken. And Papa's like, hang on 1 second, and it's just like Papa like slammed his hands
jammed,
at the
apparently.
top and at the bottom, and then like the window pops open.
Yeah, he's like, I need to actually fix it, but this should do
closes
for.
it.
It sounds like it was jammed.
Yeah,
Like
he's just like, yeah, you guys, bing bang, boom boom,
and it closes.
and it's fine. We're good.
And then they all stand in the window and they see the reflections in the lamplight all together.
It's very cute.
Yeah,
I wrote,
cute.
now that's a Christmas story.
It is really Christmassy.
I will say this is, other than maybe Samantha's, the one that felt the most like, and Molly, like a Christmas book of our older girls. Because I think like Christmas looked a little different anyway for like Kirsten and
Felicity.
Yeah. Felicity. But I was like, oh, It,
I
it
know.
just
It felt like a
felt
Christmas episode of a TV show.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
100%. Especially like a period piece show. Like she gets the dress and she's doing the errands and it's snowing and they go to the church and they have the party and they have the food and Papa comes home.
Yeah, it was very like deliciously like cute.
Oh, it was
Mwah,
good.
mwah, mwah.
Yeah, yum yum. I ate it up.
Yum Christmas.
Yum Christmas.
So, peek to the past, Christmas, wartime Christmas will never be fun, is what I learned from this. Peek into the past.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. It talks about how things were scarce, families were separate, and it was kind of a muted holiday season. People would still try and do little things, but like it was like homemade gifts and scraps. And they have a crazy thing basically, they don't totally explain about how the North was basically starving the South to death. They say that the South was running out of rations, but they don't mention that it was because they were burning down the entire
Correct.
South.
Yes. Because they were like, when are you guys gonna stop being fucking idiots?
Yeah, so
Enough.
they're starving half the country, and they have a weird line about making coffee with chestnuts.
There's a couple like remarks just in this part, in this peek into the past, where I was like, hey,
I need to follow up. And they're like,
can you just spell it out a little? I know this is for children, but
but they're like, they made apple pie without apples. I'm like, how?
yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's like when we used to make bread because it'd be like sawdust and milk.
Yeah, I
And
want to
you're
know
like, that's
more.
not bread. That's muck.
Well, it's like it's not coffee if it's chestnut.
Correct.
It's just hot chestnut water.
Yeah.
It's not gonna make
That's
you like
basically tea.
caffeinated. Yeah, icky.
Yuck.
So it kind of goes into that, and it goes into just like that if they got presents, it would be homemade presents. We do revisit what we learned in Felicity about the people just like shooting guns into the air
Enough.
Christmas Day.
No, thank you.
And how a lot of like poor children or slave children would fill animal gallbladders and like harden them and then hold them over fires until they exploded to mimic the sounds of guns. And I was like, I don't want any part of that.
Shit used to be crazy
I know.
in more ways than one.
Yeah, and then the other thing that was crazy about this speaking to the past was that it almost made like
Okay, are you talking about the part where it's like, and work would slow down around the holidays?
like
so
the slaves would get like a week off and they'd get little presents and like food. I'm like,
kind of hang out, which would make it okay.
yeah, it was a little bit weird. It kind of went back to Felicity coded language with like slavery wasn't all bad because they got to celebrate Christmas.
Even enslaved folk had a holiday.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. But it
I
does.
think it's like the tough, weird balance of like being a kid's book, and like we've said, we think it's been handling generally all around these harder topics like pretty well, but it's a little funny sometimes with the peeks into the past because I feel like they have to be like, it wasn't all bad, kind of like where it talks about childbirth in the Felicity book, and it's like moms would have to go right back to tending the farm, and don't even get us started on enslaved moms, though they had it even worse because they didn't have the benefit of rest. And they'd be like, well, yeah, because they were slaves.
Yeah, it was a little bit like
You explained why.
Yeah, I like this peek in the past. I like the Addy peek in the past better, but this is the weakest one for me so far. But it feels like they are kind of rote with the Christmas. I feel like they do kind of run into a wall with the Christmas peek into the past a little bit because like it changes slightly, but doesn't change that much over time.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get that.
But they did have an interesting thing about like in 1863 on December 31st, Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And so they talk about how a lot of holidays for Black Americans came out of Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation, including Kwanzaa, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I knew Kwanzaa was a new holiday, but I don't know much about Kwanzaa. And so it was interesting to learn that it was started in 1966 as kind of a celebration of that freedom, and it takes place from the 26th to the 1st, kind of overlapping when the Emancipation Proclamation would have come.
happening.
And they also mentioned Juneteenth, which is cool.
We just celebrated that.
Which we just celebrated. And I didn't know about till I moved to Texas.
Yeah,
So
similarly.
it wasn't, I think it's more popular now, but I moved to Texas 5 years ago and I don't remember. And I lived in Scotland before then. So it may have made it to Maryland sometime in the last decade. But growing up, I didn't know about it.
Yeah,
So
no, me either.
it was cool to see that it was mentioned in 93 in this book. So, but that's kind of a wrap on Addie's surprise.
That's right.
And so my final thoughts are This was a very sweet Christmas story. Like I said, maybe I'm just a sentimental gal. I think it is a little unlikely that Papa would have found them so easily, but it's a children's book, and I'm willing to be happy for once.
Very
and
well. I agree.
let it happen.
I concur.
I wish Mr. Del Monte had just given Addie the scarf. I understand he runs a business, but it's 20 cents.
Yeah.
Grow up. You like her.
Yeah. It felt like a kind of like a missed plot line. Low
Yeah.
key. Maybe.
I guess he was enough of a character for us to know it, but I felt like he seemed a kind of heart.
It
And
just
I feel like
it
he would
felt
have.
like the kind of like, oh, it's Christmas gimmick that like an American Girl book would pull.
Yeah.
So I was similarly surprised it didn't.
Because I am fixated on red scarf too. I think Mama would look great in a red
I know.
scarf.
Mama's got a red scarf.
And then I thought everyone would be reunited only in the last book. So I thought it's interesting that Papa came. I wasn't expecting Papa to come.
Yeah, I guess I also assumed that they wouldn't all be together till the end. I felt like that seems like the obvious end point
Yeah.
of her books, but I was similarly surprised.
So I'm excited to see if people are trickling in or if we're going to get,
Like if we'll get one,
yeah,
collect them
gotta catch them all.
like a Pokemon. Yeah, you'll get one per book.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, I liked it. I thought, like I said, as you mentioned, I thought the structure was a little bit crazy, but overall it was a fun little Christmas book. So I had fun reading it.
Yeah, it was heartfelt, wonderful, magical. My thoughts, I said obviously I'm very much a Felicity girl, but I said this book, I think especially, and the last one, I think have shown me why people like Addie so much. I mean, her books are very rich. I think her world is very charming and interesting, and like I think learning the world through her eyes makes it that much more intriguing. And I said I think it's good for a children's series to have her grapple with the happy times, like the holidays, like the fun of the church and everything, being like tinged with like the sadness of her family not being together. And also that like she is working and she doesn't necessarily get to totally be just a kid. And I think it balances the story well. A little bit the way that it did with like Nellie, where like Nellie is sort of burdened with this deep responsibility at a very young age, but as the books go on she learns how to like enjoy and be a little kid. I kind of like that with Addie. Right away we get to be like she gets to be a kid sometimes, but she also is dealing with these like kind of unimaginable burdens for a 9-year-old.
I agree. I think Connie is doing a good job of balancing like the brevity of what it would have been like to be a newly freed girl in a city with kind of the joy of being a girl.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really enjoying it. So
Yeah, so
share this with someone who you would make a scarf for.
share this with someone you've seen go Karen in a shop.
Share this with someone who you've helped get out of a dress that was too tight.
Share this with someone you wish would take you to a crazy church.
Share this with your friend you want to eat the best dessert of your life with.
And share this with a friend who you hope is secretly making you a dress.
And like, rate, review, subscribe. Let us know your
Comment.
thoughts on Addie and other girls.
Holler at us.
Yeah, let us know. For a fun little reiteration, we're covering Josefina next after this because we're going chronological order of like the release. So we're not doing it we're not doing it chronological. I lied. We're doing it release order, not chronological order. So we're doing it whenever the girls came out. So if your favorite girl is down the line, we're going to get to her when we get to her.
When we get to her.
Josefina's next, but we still got plenty of Addie to get through.
We got the legacy girls to get through.
I know.
At this point in our book, it only shows us up to Julie in the timeline of girls.
In the little pictures of
In the
them,
pictures.
which is even new for me.
I
She
know.
was never in my... actually, this one showed Rebecca.
Oh, I didn't even clock
Yeah.
Rebecca in there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But,
I didn't even know Rebecca was a doll.
she's a New York City Jewish girl, I
she's
think.
got brown hair, right? And a
Yeah.
purple dress.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So you
about all I
did know.
Well, because
That crazy man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was his favorite doll. Yeah, that's the only reason I know.
That's on our Patreon, guys.
Yeah, those are our secret episodes.
But yeah,
Anyway,
we enjoy doing this. We love you guys as much as we can love people we never met.
that's right. Don't make it parasocial though.
Yeah, only a little social.
Yeah. Oh.
Bye.
Follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking